While we were growing up, our father, John Gokongwei Jr., would tell us stories about his difficult childhood as a way to teach us the values of hard work, resiliency, family, and vision. We were lucky.
A daughter to the Philippines' fourth richest man.
So cross fingers, that's the big TNS one. Okay.
An heiress who defies the stereotype. With a single computer shared among her 4 staff, she built the leading magazine publishing company in the Philippines and is now rising in prominence as one of Asia's most powerful businesswomen to watch. Her name, Liza Gokongwei.
Wow!
It's a rather simple gathering for a tycoon worth $3.2 billion, but nonetheless a momentous celebration for family and Philippine society. The second generation of the Gokongwei family is holding a birthday tribute for their 86-year-old father, whom they officially address as Mr. John.
This book is a way for us and our cousins to share our father's story with our own children and generations to come who may never get to meet him. We would like them to remember the young boy who lost his father at an early age, but who transcended that and other obstacles to live a life of great adventure and passion.
The idea for the book came to her in 2008, when Liza was pregnant with her first child. At that time, John Gokongwei's address to university graduates had gone viral. It was a speech about how he became the family breadwinner at age 13.
I didn't even know they were printing this for me. I think I lost some weight.
John Gokongwei is Liza's inspiration and role model. He started by peddling thread and candles on the streets and went on to build one of the largest conglomerates in the Philippines, JG Summit. The company has a workforce of 50,000. It manufactures food and beverage, produces petrochemicals, owns the 5th most profitable budget airline in the world, and develops properties internationally.
I saw that he didn't take any shortcuts. And he's quite a visionary, and that's something that I truly admire about him. And he really has a never-say-die attitude. He's not afraid to go against big competitors. He will be the last player, but he will fight.
The tycoon's legacy goes beyond ink and colors. It is personified in his 6 children, all of whom run or work for the family company. Among the Gokongwei siblings, Liza broke tradition by building her own business, but it took her a while to exhibit her father's legendary drive. Unlike her elder siblings, Liza never felt the weight of expectations, and so, according to her, she had little ambition when she was younger.
You know, I'm the third among 6 children. I'm neither the eldest child nor the only son. So I think those 2, Robina, my eldest sister, and Lance, the only son,
a good wife and a good family.
Were pressured. They both were born to run big businesses. I was not. There was very little expectations. But I'm not saying that worked against us. It actually gave me the room to do what I wanted.
After the break, find out how John Gokongwei trained his children to love to work.
We had to share like 1 plate of pancakes for all of us. We had to work during summer vacations.
John Gokongwei loves recounting a particular story about Liza, his 3rd child.
As a young girl, she loves to cry. And when she starts crying, it takes an hour or 2 before she stops. There was an instance where I had a chocolate bar in the fridge. I ate it, and when she came home, she started, "Why did you eat my bar? That's mine." So I said, "Liza, everything in the house is shared. This was given to me by father so and so." I said, "No, that she really cried and got mad, and after a while, after 2-3 days, she got over it."
I believe that my parents raised us not to act privileged. We were not aware that we were privileged, which is kind of silly because we lived in a gated community and we had helpers and we had drivers bringing us to school. But at the same time, we were given a very small allowance. When we went to restaurants, we had to share like one plate of pancakes for all of us. We had to work during summer vacations.
Many are puzzled by the Gokongwei family's trademark simplicity, but John Gokongwei knows better. His grandfather, once the richest businessman in his home province, did not work a day in his life. The family business his grandfather inherited eventually folded.
That experience gave me a real insight into how families work and how you do not try to at least make your children at least love to work.
A few weeks ago,
Okay.
and sales are pretty well.
Okay.
So here's how it works.
Wow. How many restaurants?
We have 101.
Okay.
Okay. And
It's no surprise then that Liza is the most hardworking person in Summit Media, the publishing company she founded and built.
Very good app. Congratulations.
thank you.
Okay. All right. Please. Okay. I'll go.
Okay.
Bye.
Summit Media is the leading magazine publisher in the Philippines, with more than 20 titles under its umbrella. Global media companies like Hearst Magazines, Bauer, Rodale and BBC publish their Philippine editions through them. But Liza's pride and joy are her homegrown brands, which reflect her simple tastes as well as professional achievement.
Yes Magazine. Yes Magazine is our largest selling magazine, and it's the largest selling magazine in the country. It's focused on celebrity lives. We changed the paradigm and said, even if it's about celebrities, we have to have the best kind of journalism, the best kind of photography, and the best quality of layout. So Preview, of course, is my first magazine. It's the eldest child, so there's always a special place in your heart for the eldest child. Yummy! This is the one that I really enjoy reading because it's just has all these pictures of food and very well done, beautiful. It makes food look like art. So this one is something that all my friends like to read, and my whole family, my husband loves to read. We publish a magazine called Town and Country, which is a luxury magazine targeted at a very A set. But that magazine, while I love that magazine and it's beautiful, that is not the life I personally live. I have very average tastes. Okay, very nice,
This
beautiful.
one I cut it out of...
In the office, Liza is often teased about being the fashion magazine boss who isn't bothered about being in vogue.
She's very simple, diba? She's so regular, so ordinary. You'd never even think she was the publisher of a fashion magazine. She always jokes about it.
Okay, this looks like an interesting story. I think the readers will like it.
Unspoilt by success, Liza's path to entrepreneurship began with a struggle to figure out what she was born for, apart from being a Gokongwei. After earning her communication arts degree at Ateneo de Manila University, Liza was assigned to the children's wear section of their family-owned mall, Robinson's.
That's the path that all the girls in my family were destined to take. Although I went to work every day, it was something that I didn't like to do. When the newspaper opened, I said that's something that I probably want to do. And I said, and so I asked if I could move to the newspaper. And I was happily, you know, again, he has very little expectations of me because I'm only the third child. He said, sure, do whatever you want.
Luckily for her, elder sister Robina was revamping the family-owned newspaper, the Manila Times. Liza was assigned to the lifestyle section as co-editor. Together with one of her best friends, Yvette, Liza came up with the Woman Times, a daily section that featured famous faces and places, art and culture, and even crime mysteries.
She's very creative. She always had these ideas, let's do this, let's do that. This is something which should appeal to the reader. She's always been fearless. Like, she's willing to write anything about anybody without worrying if it would be offensive, or you know how other people always like to please other people with their writing. She just said things as she saw them, which I thought was so refreshing.
In 1992, the independent-minded 24-year-old decided to further her journalism studies at Columbia University, New York. This was when her personal breakthrough happened.
Every block there's a newsstand. And so I would subscribe to magazines, or I would buy magazines all the time. And I said, there isn't a local magazine industry. So when I was studying in New York, I said, when we get home, when I go home, that's something I want to do.
In 1995, about a year after she returned from New York, Liza and her elder sister Robina decided to expand their newspaper business and publish a fashion magazine called Preview.
Foreign brands were starting to come in, and they didn't have budgets for TV. And normally fashion brands don't advertise in radio. They advertise in magazines. So we saw that opening in the market. We said, it's time.
John Gokongwei was pleased with his daughter's decision to become an entrepreneur and gave Liza an initial capital of about 1 million pesos, or $20,000 US. It wasn't really enough, so Liza borrowed a vacant room at the basement of their newspaper's office and shared one computer with her 4 staff.
We didn't ask for a lot of money anyway, so basically we didn't even have to tell my dad, because Robina was my boss in the Manila Times. And so, you know, we had to launch new products. And one of those new products that we launched was Preview magazine, which was our first magazine.
She took up journalism in Colombia, and she came home. I said, you want to work? Assigned her to a telephone company. After a year, he said, Daddy, can I do something else? I said, what? He said, I want to put up a, publishing of magazines. I said, if you love it, go ahead. So she went ahead, and she did a good job, very good job.
Back then, Liza didn't think her passion would turn out to be profitable. Her vision was simply to publish a good magazine that consumers would enjoy reading. But as it turns out, her idealism was also market-friendly. 2 years later, one of the world's most influential women's magazine, Cosmopolitan, picked Liza's fledgling company as their partner in the Philippines.
When they came to the Philippines, they interviewed 3 publishers, and luckily we were picked. And I still don't understand why. Because at that time we had a very ugly office we were in the basement of the old Manila Times. Had no windows. There were lots of flies and rats at that time. So it was quite surprising that they picked us to be their partner. Okay. Maybe the 2 others were worse than us. Mm-hmm.
With an additional 3.5 million pesos, or $70,000 US from her father, the first ever Philippine edition of Cosmo was born.
So October, you think, you're confident that at the latest we can launch this by October.
And Liza Gokongwei was poised to spread her wings wide.
That was fine.
Okay. Oh, wow!
Find out what Lisa is all excited about after the break. Before Summit Media came on the scene, local magazine pictorials were quite unheard of in the Philippines. And the magazine section of Philippine bookstores looked nothing like this. But 2 decades on, locally produced glossies and homegrown titles now appeal and sell better than imported ones. Lisa Gokongwei had a lot to do with this. Cosmo Philippines had an unrivaled readership from the start. With the additional revenue, Lisa decided to expand Summit's portfolio. Aside from glossies, it also went into book publishing, digital media, and event management.
Before Summit came into the picture, the magazine business was still very small, and it was the world of very few, very passionate people. But when we came in, we were able to show that the magazine industry could actually be a viable business.
Forbes Asia called Lisa's feat an industry game changer and included her in their 2012 list of Asia's top 15 most powerful businesswomen to watch for having defied tradition and created new markets.
You know that flash box on top? You can say off interview with Ines.
Yeah,
about this stuff.
What makes her tick is working with people who are as passionate as she is. Talent she can nurture and collaborate with for fresh ideas and innovative businesses.
You know, that would be nice. I think that's a way to entice more authors to come if we start providing those features.
Her typical day would be jam-packed with meetings and making the rounds to chat with her editors.
Hey, Bex.
Hey, hi.
Oh, can you show me the pictures you took?
Yeah, here. I just got them.
Oh, it's nice. Do you think that this is the house that's going to be the cover?
I think it has a very good chance.
Concern to me is it feels very masculine. You think it's okay?
She trusts her staff with content, but all of them say Lisa has very good instinct and is always ahead of them. Lisa herself is self-effacing about her natural talent in the business.
Artistically creative. Yeah, so that's a nice. I feel very excited to work with this talent because I know I don't have that talent. You know, I wouldn't be able to photograph. I'm a very frustrated writer. I'm a frustrated artist. And to be with talent like this, it's something that makes me very excited.
Lisa has made a huge impact on many. One of them is Tara Sering, a Singapore-based Filipino writer and novelist who was her former employee. Inspired by the success of Bridget Jones' Diary, Lisa and her team decided to experiment with local chick lit. Tara volunteered to write a 10-page booklet, paving the way for a new line of books published under Summit.
It was an unproven genre in the Philippines. To her everlasting credit, she was really brave enough to just say, okay, let's do this. And she funded it. She bankrolled the whole enterprise. It was so successful. Yeah, and I think, oh my gosh, we can do things this way.
So Becky, is that the best picture that you? Maybe is there a better picture that you can use for you? It's innate in me to like to start new things. So I do encourage it within the company to do. I get excited with new things. I think, and also as a business strategy, it's very important to keep launching new things that will respond to the new market needs so that you can grow your business further. Wow, that's a really nice L decoration house.
She's like her father. She's willing to she comes up with really creative ideas and she jumps on them right away. Other people say, oh, what a good idea, and then they think about it, or they just say it and never do anything about it. But with Liza, and from what I've seen of her father, when they come up with an idea, they take action right away, and they do things to make things happen.
So that if you click on it...
Oh, wow!
So what has Liza and her team been hatching lately? It's one of the first all-Filipino digital newsstands they call Buko.
I mean, were you able to hire those 2 senior developers?
Vietnam right now.
Just with
For this project, Liza will partner other publishers as well as Filipino writers.
Another idea could be to ask the authors, maybe you can... This can actually help a lot of aspiring authors and aspiring talents and aspiring comic book authors be financially rewarded. And, you know, I think it's a dream for many Filipino authors to actually reach readers. And, you know, this is a good way without having to go through the cost of printing or distribution.
The site, you just put your
Javi
username,
Villanueva is in charge of making this app work.
As you see,
Liza has taught him to be unafraid of
this one's still
failure.
a little slow.
So in the meantime, you can use Summit Newsstand.
Yes.
Okay.
There was one time when I made a big mistake, and
So the
you know,
agreement
in
is
fact, I
this.
even offered my resignation. And she said, "You know what? No. Why would I even want that? In fact, the two of us have learned so much together from this. So why would I even want to get rid of anyone who's learned so much with me?"
We can do it. I mean, but...
No, well, no, let's not take that risk yet. To build a business, you can't... It's not about overnight successes. It's really laying... You really have to lay it brick by brick, brick by brick. Every day is it's a challenge every day, and you have to be very patient and you have to be very persevering. Mm-hmm. You can't expect something to succeed overnight. Mm-hmm. I think that rarely ever happens.
Nobody ever thought Liza could build her own kingdom with the few bricks her father gave her. But just like John Gokongwei, she's climbed to the top by living a life of passion, hard work, and adventure.
You don't think, oh, of course she's successful because she's a billionaire's daughter. You don't think that after a while. Instead, you think, oh, of course, because she works that hard, then of course she's going to make it really big and she's going to be really successful on her own.
She can achieve very much more than what she's doing now. That's why I have plans for her. Big plans, but keep it under wraps.